We are back for part 2 of the Nick Saban challenge, and if you missed the first episode, let me give you a quick recap. Carl Saban is the head coach of Alabama, and he's taken the reins from one of the greatest coaches of all time, his father, Nick Saban. But his goal is to not only match his father's years in Alabama, but he wants to exceed them. He wants 7 national championships, 10 conference titles, and 5 Heisman winners in just 15 seasons, as opposed to his father who got it in 17 seasons. In today's episode, we're going to be going through years 2 and 3 of Carl Saban's journey to becoming the greatest head coach of all time. You're going to see a lot of different dynamics with this team, so grab your drinks and grab your snacks and settle in because we are about to lock in for years 2 and 3 of the hardest challenge in college football video game history. Let's get it. Time for the most exciting part of the offseason, the training results, and you're going to quickly notice the new stud of the offense, 95 overall, Jam Miller. He is a senior, so we're only going to have him for the season, but 93 speed, 97 acceleration, 97 agility, 98 change of direction, 93 carrying. What an absolute unit this is going to be for our offense. We are going to 100% be playing around him, so he should never have any concerns with the playing style because he's going to be the workhorse of this offense next season. Tyler Booker is now at 93. I wish it would show you your old overalls for these players because I don't exactly remember where they all were. But Deontay Lawson, 93 overall now. Damani Jackson's now at 90. Keon Sabb, 88. Haynes is at 90. Kendrick Law, 89. And many, many more overall changes. 89. Bernard went up to an 89. Richard Young's an 89. Jihad Campbell, Kobe Prentice, LT Overton. It looks like everyone got a slight jump in their overall. I don't remember the exact overalls again for every player, but very, very nice. But 100%, the key thing to look out for here is Jam Miller at the 95, and then Deontay Lawson and Damani Jackson. Very nice jumps for them. Damani Jackson, I just noticed, has 99 speed now. 99 speed, 99 acceleration, and 98 agility. Oh my gosh. I'm getting very close to the Scheme Guru, so I'm going to save some skill points until we unlock this. All we have to do is win one more top 25 game, which I'm sure we will get this season. The Scheme Guru skill tree is one of the best in the game, if not the best skill tree in the entire game. So we're going to be putting a ton of our points into this in the next season. One of our main targets for the recruiting is Carl McGlynn, 96 throw power, 95 speed, 5-star athlete. We are number 3 on his interest board. He does have bronze magician, so he's going to be our main target for the recruiting on offense. Dalvin Baker will be a nice close second with 91 throw power, 81 speed. He does have better accuracies than McGlynn does, also with better abilities as well. For the running back spot, our main target will be Nick Castellanos, 92 speed, 4-star gem, so he will have some crazy development in the offseason if we can pick him up. So that'll be our main target for halfback. We actually got Cam Denson to instant commit to Alabama, 4-star gem wide receiver with 97 speed, 6'1", huge pickup. I cannot wait to use him. We obviously have a long time to go before he'll be on the squad, but that is a very nice target to have so quickly in the recruiting process. We'll also be going after Marvin Henderson with 95 speed, and we have Seontae Lewis with 98 speed, so we are going for some burners in the recruiting process. At the tackle spot, we're going for Joey Karam, 4-star gem. At the guard spot, we're going for Kai Stubbs, also a 4-star gem. At the center spot, we only have one target right now, that is Cliff Godwin. Chester Power is one of the main defensive linemen I want to target. 84 speed with bronze quick jump. If you don't know, quick jump is probably one of the best defense abilities in the game to have on a player. So anytime I see quick jump on a defensive lineman, I want to target them heavier than just about any other defensive lineman. But we will be going for Enrique Kalu as well because he is a 4-star gem defensive end. Right now we only have one defensive tackle on the board, and that's Jamison Willie, 4-star gem. 80 speed at defensive tackle is very, very solid. Hopefully for our user, if we can get him, Terrence Molinaro with 93 speed will be an insane pickup if we can get him. Cornerback was not very nice to us in our scouting, so I'm going to have to do a little bit more, but right now our main target is Clifton Vokalek, I think is how you say his name, 93 speed. At the free safety spot, James Sahara, 91 speed, 4-star gem, going to be the main target for the free safety. And then for the strong safety spot, we're going after Nick Kafka. He's a 4-star with 90 speed. Before we hop into our first game, I want to quickly say thank you all so much for the support on the first video of the series. We did one full season, and I was really not expecting anything of that video. I was expecting maybe a couple hundred views, if that, and y'all blew that video up. 10,000 views, over 200 likes, over 150 subscribers. The support on that video really caught me off guard, and I was super ecstatic. So thank y'all so much for that. It's very humbling and very cool to see such a small channel like mine to actually do so well on my very first video of that style. So thank y'all so much for the support, and thank y'all for the input to let me know what you want to see differently out of this series and how to make it better. One of the main things I did notice in the comments from our boy Score, he said the injuries on would be a lot more interesting for the dynamics and the storyline. So thank you for that comment. We're going to 100% have injuries on now. I did change the quarter length to 6 minutes with 25-second runoff, and those are the only two things that I believe that I have changed for this series. We're still on Heisman. Everything else is the same. In the last video, I played every playoff game and I played 4 regular season games, and it was a lot of time consumption because I played the full game but would just edit down the clips to make the games more exciting. This video, we're going to do less games and probably even less playoff games, but I am going to play the moments this time, so you'll still see the highlight plays of the game, but it'll just be a lot less time consuming so I can actually get this content to y'all out faster, which is the main goal of this. I want to get these videos out quicker. I don't want y'all to have to wait 2 weeks per episode. That's definitely what I'm trying to avoid with this. So leave y'all's feedback down below. Let me know if you want to see more gameplay, less gameplay, if you want to see 1 season, 2 or 3 seasons. I want this series to be y'all's. That's why I'm making it. So let me know what you enjoy, and I'll try to do my best to kind of balance it for everyone because everyone likes something different. Some people are going to want more games. Some people are going to want more recruiting. It kind of is just going to depend on y'all. But I'm going to do my best to balance it to make everyone happy and to make this series ours. It's not just my series. I'm making this for y'all, and I enjoy doing it. With all that being said, let's hop into our first game against Florida State. So even though we lost Milroe, we do have Ty Simpson, but his entire style is way different than Milroe. Milroe could get loose with his legs and create big plays. Ty Simpson is a little bit more sit in the pocket and throw dots. So we're actually going to be changing our offense up this season. So we're actually going to be using the Arizona offense moving forward. It still has a ton of great running plays to get Jam Miller the football, but it also has some better passing plays for Ty to air the ball out in the pocket. We have a 92 defense, 91 offense. We are ranked number 1. So the expectations for this season are through the roof after coming off a national championship. So let's hop into this game. Don't worry, every gameplay besides this one is going to be actual commentary about the game, but I wanted to quickly discuss something that's really important for the future of this series. The play the moments function is cool. It helps me get content out to y'all quicker, but I feel like the defense is not shown nearly enough. And if y'all don't care about the defense, cool, but I feel like right now it's just not showing enough of it. All the players I recruit and work on through the off seasons, you're just barely getting to see any of the big defensive plays that they make. Of course, you get to see like some 3rd and longs. You get to see the red zone defense here and there. But there's some times where I'll go 5 straight drives and I will never play a lick of defense. It's really lame. I want to see a little bit more of it, but I don't want it to be based on my opinion. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about the play the moments. Like I said, it does help me get the content out to y'all quicker because the gameplay goes faster, but at the same time, you're getting to see less of me making mistakes, the defense making big plays, and all of that. So y'all just let me know how y'all feel about that. Also, I'll be live streaming on Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. I'm doing my very first live stream of the Northern Illinois Huskies. We're doing a rebuild. I believe they're a 1.5-star team. It's going to be super tough. Injuries on, wear and tear on, Heisman difficulty. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to be wanting to break my controller. But y'all should tune in. It's going to be a ton of fun. I would love to chat with y'all and have a good time. With all that being said, we'll kind of just finish out this gameplay with some commentary. At this point in the game, we're in double overtime with Florida State. This has been a crazy game. 17-17, huge sack to push it to a 4th and 17. They can't go for a field goal, even if they could make it from here because it is double overtime. And we get a huge interception from DeMonte Jackson. 99 speed corner. You can see he's burning. Honestly, if I make any kind of move back to the inside, it is very possible we could take that all the way back to the crib with that speed. We're now in the 3rd and 13. We need a big play here, and we get it to Flint Lockwood. Ty Lockwood with a huge catch to put us in 1st and goal situation, and with that, Jam Miller punches it in to end off this football game. With that win over Florida State, we've unlocked probably the best skill tree in the entire game, Scheme Guru. So I went ahead and spent 15 to unlock it, and I spent 24 points to get the first 3 tiers of the pass game defense. So we basically get more knockouts all across the field, so our defense is about to get a lot tougher. And then we're going to start upgrading the ground and pound defense as well. I do feel like we stopped the run a little bit better than we stopped the pass, so I started with the pass game defense, but this will be right behind that. We're going to be getting these as well. Unfortunately, 2 of the players that I was most excited to target, Chester Power and Carl McGlynn, they are going to both be committing to other schools probably next week. Texas maybe 2 weeks from now, but we are going to lose Power to Georgia and Carl McGlynn to Texas. Early into the season, recruiting is a little bit more exciting. As we go on, I'll probably start showing you less and less of the recruiting, but I'll just show you the signings and players that we're about to win on, or players that I'm removing from the board. But for right now, I'm going to show you some of the players that we are either in the running on or we are about to win over to commit to Alabama. There is a handful of players that we may possibly lose out on, and as people get further and further down the list of wanting to go to a different school, we'll be removing them from the board and moving those hours elsewhere. But for now, Dalvin Baker's still on the board. We are number 2. Miguel Castaneda, we are barely losing to Georgia. Henry Hesse, Joshua Castro in the running with no competition right now. Nick Kavka, only competition is Clemson. Marvin Henderson, LSU. Nick Castellanos, we are winning by a lot for him. Very excited to get him for the squad. Henry Kalu, I do want him quite a bit. 4-star Jim left in, but we are being beat out by Georgia. We are the strong leader for Cliff Godwin. Joey Karam, we are in a solid little lead. We'll obviously jump more on players like this once we have their hard sell available. Clifton Vokalek is probably going to commit next week. Same for Joel Penny, more than likely. James Sahara, we have no competition right now. Jamison Willie is probably going to commit to Alabama either next week or the week after. Richard DeBose in the running for him. Kevin Roque, I do not want to give up on him yet, but we are losing by a decent margin to Georgia. Terrence Molinaro is the main target I want to go after for my user for next season. Very excited to get him, hopefully. And Eddie Searcy is new to the list, so we did start recruiting him. We are now 2-0 with the win over Monroe. Recruiting, not much to update about here. We did get locked out of one player. Besides that, all I did was just go through and add a hard sell to a ton of players. That's literally all we did this week. But next week we should start getting a few commitments. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's see if we can get this win against Wisconsin. They are also 2-0, ranked number 10. We did drop again to Wisconsin, so we are now 2-1. And we did get our first true commitment, Miguel Castaneda, the 4-star right outside linebacker. Also got the 4-star strong safety, Nick Kavka. Got the right tackle, 4-star Joey Karam, which is, I believe he was a gem, so that'll be more of a 5-star talent. I was not actually going after Ben Alonso, but he did lock us out. We also lost Eddie Searcy to SMU, unfortunately. We were very close. And one that really stung is Enrique Kalu, 4-star gem left in. Barely got beat out by Georgia. I mean, look at that bar. It's completely maxed. They just unfortunately barely beat us to them. Super sad about that. We're going to go and simulate this game against Purdue. We got the 4-star corner, Joshua Castro, to commit to Alabama. We also got the 92 speed, 4-star gem running back, Nick Castellanos. Kai Stubbs, 4-star left guard. Also got the 4-star corner, Clifton Vokalek. Got a ton of commitments this week. Also got 4-star James Sahara. And also another 4-star free safety, Richard DeBose. Oh man, another quarterback down. Dalvin Baker did commit to Ohio State. We did get the win over Purdue, so we are now 3-1. And about week 8, we'll take a look at our team stats and see how the team's performing throughout this season. With all of those signings this week, we obviously had a ton of extra hours to spend, so I did a little bit of scouting. The main thing I want you to pay attention to is Ed Antwine. He's a 4-star player. He is a bust, but he has gold quick jump. And I mentioned earlier, this ability is so good on defensive linemen. I know he's only got 79 speed, but being able to use him on edge blitzes with that gold quick jump, this will be a huge addition to specifically our blitzing plays, so we definitely want to get him on the squad. The only other notable player that I've added to the board is Brian Fowler. He is a 3-star defensive tackle. He is a gem, so very nice to see that. We actually were at the top of his list, even though we have not put anything as far as the hours into him until now. And besides that, we're still just sending the house on a ton of players, waiting to understand their motives so we can do the hard sell. One player to notice is right here, Marvin Henderson. He has 95 speed. We are doing the hard sell along with the DM player. Only problem is though, LSU is right behind us and they have scheduled a visit and they have a better pipeline. And we cannot schedule a visit. It is bugged out, so I'm a little worried we may lose him. This is a really annoying bug in Dynasty mode. I hope they fix this very soon because it may honestly cost us a very stud-like receiver. I mean, he's a 5-star. He wants to come to Alabama, but I can't schedule a visit for that massive boost of points on his influence. Got another commitment from Henry Hesse, the 4-star right tackle. Got Cliff Godwin, the 4-star center. Also got a 4-star defensive tackle, Jamison Wilson. This is the lineman week, apparently. This is the second time this has happened to me. We lost another great player that I wanted to have very badly. Look at our bar. It's completely maxed out, but he commits to Miami instead. This was going to be our user next season with 93 speed. Just barely missed out on him. Super depressing to see that. I'm just going to keep simulating through the weeks until we come across a tough opponent. Vanderbilt is obviously not one of them. They're 1-4. Hopefully we don't drop a game to a weak squad like this. Ooh, you love to see it. 95 speed, 5-star wide receiver, Marvin Henderson. We do get the commitment even though we could not schedule a visit. Heck yeah, I am super excited about that. Before we hop into this huge game against Tennessee, I have something to point out. First of all, we have no players on the Heisman watch, but guess who we're playing against next game? Nico Imalave, I'm not sure how to say his name, but he is a 90 overall quarterback. He is in the front running spot for the Heisman right now. So we are going to have our work cut out for us next game. And the last thing I want to show you before we get into this game is just a quick update on the team stats for the season. I usually only show this a couple times throughout the year. But Ty Simpson is having a decent year, 1,500 yards with only 4 interceptions, not too bad. As far as the rushing goes, I actually didn't notice this till just now because we've had such easy games. But Jam Miller is out for our huge game against Tennessee. This is a really massive loss to the squad. Broken wrist, out for 2 weeks. So we're going to have to try to pick it up without him. But Justice Haynes is our star running back with 48 carries, 238 yards. Not anything super special from him. For receiving, Kendrick Law is leading our squad with 506 yards and 8 touchdowns. A great year from Kendrick Law. Same thing as last year. LT Overton is our sack leader. He's playing very, very solid. And then, as expected, Damani Jackson is leading our team with interceptions. He's just such a stud of a corner. I love having him on this squad. That speed is just so good for defense, and it is showing with 2 interceptions on the season. And just as a reminder for this challenge, our goal is 7 national championships, 10 conference titles, 5 Heisman winners in just 15 seasons. And right now, the only thing we have, I mean, of course, it's only been 1 season, but we have the 1 national championship, which is, of course, a huge accomplishment, but we've got to really start grinding out and get this team better to hopefully get some more conference titles and to get some people in the running for the Heisman. 3rd and 11 for Tennessee's first drive of the game. We send some pressure at them, and Damani Jackson makes a great play and forces the knockout. 2nd and 14 after taking a sack, and we take another sack, and this forces a 3 and out. 1st and goal for Tennessee. I'm expecting a pass here out of the empty set, and they just powered in with their quarterback. Short 3rd and 2 to keep our drive going. We just hand the ball off to Haynes. A nice little spin move to pick up about 10 or 15 yards on the ground. After taking a sack, we're in a 2nd and 16 situation. We just hit the pass underneath to Bernard, and he has a great pickup of 18 yards to put us right there at the 2-yard line. And after 3 straight plays of nothing, Ty Simpson decides to just use his legs and just punch it in the end zone himself. And Tennessee actually turned the ball over to give us another chance to score before half, and we threw an absolute laser to Prentice. Hurrying up to the line since we are completely out of timeouts. We've only got 4 seconds on the clock, 3 seconds on the clock. We do get the snap off, and we hit Lockwood in the end zone for a huge touchdown before halftime. After Tennessee does nothing with their first drive of the half, we actually have the football in the red zone, and Haynes punches it in to make this a 21-7 ball game. It's 4th and 2. We're going for it to keep this drive going, and we hit a very nice, easy pass to Law. 1st and goal, trying to extend this lead to put this game out of reach, and that's exactly what we do with a nice little sideline pass to Prentice in the end zone. 3rd and 5, we already have a pretty sizable lead, but we hand the ball off to Law with the jet sweep, and he gets loose on the ground. This dude is a monster for this offense. Easy touchdown. Ty Simpson leads this Alabama squad to a rivalry win over Tennessee, 42-21. What a great game. Even with Jam Miller not being in the game, we still get the rivalry win over Tennessee. Huge win. Let's go ahead and advance the week. Get the 4-star commitment from Joel Penny, the cornerback. And after our big win against Tennessee, it doesn't get any easier. We're playing against number 4 Oklahoma, who is 6-0. We are number 7 at 5-1. We still have nobody in the running for the Heisman at this point. Hopefully we can crack someone into this running later in the season. But right now it's all quarterbacks, and I can promise you right now Ty Simpson is not having anywhere near the season he needs to have to be on this list. This Alabama offense has looked pretty poor. Blocking has been terrible. Running the ball really hasn't been great, especially with the injury of Jam Miller. This season has been, honestly, even though we're number 7, it's almost felt a little bit disappointing. I feel like we're squeezing out of these games purely because of our defense. With that being said, we're going to try something crazy this week. We're actually going to go to the Army playbook and just see if we can get the freaking ball moving on the ground. Oklahoma does have a very solid team. They are 90 overall, 89 offense, 91 defense. They made a pretty big jump from last season, so this is going to be a very tough matchup. And on Oklahoma's first drive of the game, they are in a 3rd and 10, so of course I'm dialing up some pressure, and my user is just too lazy here. If I'm back where I need to be, that is a pick, but instead it's a touchdown for Oklahoma. 14-0, and it's almost halftime. Not a great start to this game against Oklahoma. We have a very nice pass up the seam, though. 2nd and 5, trying to keep the ball moving to have a chance of scoring before halftime, and we get the first down, which stops the clock. 1st and 10, looking towards the end zone. Didn't really see anything I liked, so I just take off with Ty Simpson to pick up the first down and get the clock stopped again. 2nd and goal, and one of my favorite routes in the game, the Texas route. We throw a very nice pass, but somehow this is not a touchdown. I guess I shouldn't have possession caught that. But luckily, very next play, Haynes does punch it into the end zone for our first touchdown of the game. Oklahoma's on a 2nd and 5 in the red zone, but Cam Chancellor snuck onto the Alabama roster and gets a monster hit to save us from giving up another touchdown in the third quarter. We need a huge play to have any chance of getting back into this game. We are down 17-8, and that's exactly what we get from Kendrick Law. And as he often does, Kendrick Law breaks away from the man coverage, has a nice little catch, and does punch it into the end zone. 2nd and 21, losing by 1 point, trying to put the ball on the ground to give Ty Simpson an easier chance of picking this up, but we'll get a huge holding call, which now puts us in a 2nd and 31 for this offense. And the Oklahoma edge rusher gets completely untouched, so we get smacked again, and now it's a 3rd and 38. And there's not much you can do on a 3rd and 38 besides just go 4 vert, and that's exactly what we do. And we do have a nice pickup from Hale, but I mean, even with that huge gain, it's still a 4th and 10. And on this 4th and 10, we need a big play, and we do see Kendrick Law developing on this route, but he does drop it. And with that drop, this game is basically over. And just to add a little bit of insult to injury, this defense just starts giving up a billion yards on the ground. Sawchuk is sitting there protecting the football like it's a newborn baby. We even get a hit stick here, but it just doesn't matter. That ball is too protected, and this game against Oklahoma is unfortunately ending in a loss, a 1-point loss, very much a heartbreaker. Very tough loss to Oklahoma. I don't know what it is, but we just cannot get this offense flowing. Our defense played fine again that game, but Ty Simpson is struggling. This offensive line is struggling. We can't move the football. We can't protect. We can't run. We look terrible. We have a 90 overall offense, and we cannot move the football at all. We're going to have to continue to just work through it and hope that our defense can be enough to keep us in games, because right now the offense is in shambles. As far as the recruiting goes, not a ton to update you on. I'm still just waiting to send the hard sell on a ton of players. Nobody super notable that we're really hunting for right now. We still have a few gem players kind of mixed in here and there. But with the way the season is going, we're shifting our focus, and we're going to start going after offensive linemen. We do have already a few commitments from offensive linemen, but we need more. We need more. I need options. I need to be able to shift people around and find players that really fit this offense, because right now, this line is just killing us. We don't have time to do literally anything, and we can't get blocking on the edges for our running backs. Hopefully, things will pick up a little bit when Jam Miller comes back, but right now, we are just in shambles. So that's the main focus, going after linemen. Also, our kicker has been pretty poor this season, so we're going to start searching out for another kicker. I'm not quite positive how to say his name, but Kasim Boot, the 3-star gym kicker, is our top target for the kicking spot. If you didn't watch part 1 of this series, I strongly recommend you go to check that out after this video. But I will not spoil it, but we had a crazy good game against LSU. But this season, they are not ranked. They're just 3 and 4. So we're going to simulate this game against LSU. We do get another defensive lineman, the 3-star right end, Stephen Boone. We also get the gym 3-star defensive tackle, Brian Fowler. With the win against LSU, we moved up from number 11 to number 8. We're now 6 and 2. The game against South Carolina will probably also be a game that we just skip past. They're not having a great season as well, 4 and 4. Let's take a quick look at the CFP bracket and take a look at where we're ranking up at. Obviously, this can change and will change, but we are projected right now to play against NC State in the first round of the playoffs. And as far as the season goes, it doesn't look like we're going to have any player in the running for the Heisman, so it looks like the goal for this season is just to get back to the national championship and to get that conference title, because we're just not having a very good season. I don't see any player on our offense cracking into this running. Nico is still having a great season and will probably more than likely end up being the Heisman winner. We are being slightly beat out for Jabril Irving. We are still winning John Huey. We're also still winning Ed Antwine. For the 3-star gym right end, Jamario Booth, we are still in the first place. For Demarius Sty, it doesn't look like we're going to get him. It looks like he's probably about to commit to OSU or LSU. Eric Toon, we're still kind of in the running, 4-star defensive tackle. We will probably get Dom LaRue, the 3-star corner. The run-stopping linebacker athlete, Mike Straczynski, we are also probably going to get him, but anything can change, anything can shift at any moment. But we are in the running for him right now. Kevin Little, Kasim Boot, Teddy Madu, Titus Arroyo, and Troy Ioannidis. My goodness, some of these names, man. We are in the running and in the lead for all of these offensive linemen right now, which is great to see. All right, let's go and advance the week, see if we can get this win against South Carolina. So Ed Antwine was the 4-star bust, but he is the one with gold quick jump, so I am very excited for, at least for our blitzing style of defense, to use him off the edges. So very cool to see that. Also get a tight end. We could definitely use some help at that spot. JC Figures. Get the 3-star corner, Dom LaRue. We added 4 more players to our board. Kavon Moran, another running back. We also added DeAndre DeBeer, which is a hilarious name. I can't. 93 speed cornerback. Also found a 98 speed 4-star gym wide receiver a little bit further down the list, Tyler Navarre. I'm just going to assume that J is silent because if it's not, I have no idea how to say his name. So we did get the win over South Carolina in a crazy overtime game, apparently. We won 44-38 in overtime. We now have Georgia ranked number 9 at 6-3. Jam Miller is actually back from the injury report, as you can see. So we have no injuries going into this next week. For this game, I'm actually going to simulate it. You can let me know how you feel about this in the comments, but I don't think I'm going to play every single big game. I still want there to be some randomness and some simulation stuff that happens and make my team management and roster control actually matter more, that I'm not always the one controlling the outcome during the games. So with that being said, we're actually going to simulate this game against Georgia. 3-star middle linebacker Mike Straczynski actually committed to the squad. Also got Kevin Little, the 3-star right guard. After the win against Georgia, where Ty Simpson had a great game with 371 pass yards, 4 passing touchdowns, Ty Simpson is now in the Heisman running. After a very slow start on the season, he's actually playing much, much better in the second half of the season. And before we simulate this game against Missouri, let's take a quick look at Ty Simpson's stats. I mean, 3,000 yards, 215 completions, 33 touchdowns, only 6 picks. What a huge turnaround for Ty Simpson this season. We are in week 13, got a game against Missouri. They are 3-7. This should, in theory, be a pretty easy win. Let's take a look. Get the 3-star commitment from Jamario Booth, the right end. We also get a new kicker, Kasim Boot. And LT Overton was actually the defensive player of the week against Missouri with 2 sacks and 5 tackles. And with that win over Missouri, even though we didn't play it last year, we actually are going to play the Iron Bowl against Auburn this season. Not having a great year, but regardless, this is a big rivalry game, so I do want to play it. So as you can see, we are number 6 on the recruiting class, which is pretty good. We could have used a couple more 5 stars, but I'm not super concerned about it. Wisconsin actually had a very good recruiting class. So did Miami. Miami is actually on my hit list because they stole 2 players from me, Molinaro and Power, both 5-star defensive players that I really, really wanted. So if we get the chance to pop Miami, I'm 100% going to take it. In this game against Auburn, for some reason, they just wanted to bring in all of their 4th grade players. That's kind of how it felt. This game was entirely too easy. Everything I did on the field just worked. I don't know what it was. Our defense was great. Offense was great. This gameplay was really not worth showing much of. That's why I'm only going to show you a few plays of the game. It was just basically us beating up on Auburn. That's all this game was. I mean, Ty Simpson looked like a man amongst boys. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, maybe even 3. I can't remember. But yeah, this was basically their final shot of the game, 4th and 16. I mean, we're already winning 31-7 at this point. But just to top everything off, how about a nice little interception? And this goes not back for a pick 6, but just a huge gain. And we ended up beating Auburn 41-14. Too freaking easy, man. With that win over Auburn, we are now 10-2. We were not expecting such an easy game, regardless of their bad season. But with that game being done, let's go ahead and move on to next week. And John Huey commits to Alabama, the 4-star right tackle. We also get Teddy Madu, the 3-star right tackle. We also get Titus Oreo, the 3-star left tackle. And then we also get Troy Owenitis, the left guard, 3-star. Very nice week for the line. Hopefully these guys can develop throughout our upcoming seasons. Very nice there. Not only do we get an opportunity for our first conference title of the challenge, but we also get a chance to get revenge on Oklahoma after they beat us earlier in the season. We started off this game against Oklahoma with a very nice pass up the middle to Hale, and it does get us into Oklahoma territory. But unfortunately, a couple plays later on 1st and 10, we take a huge sack, which ends up stalling out our drive. And on a 3rd and 9, Oklahoma catches me on the defensive line. A valiant effort by the defensive tackle, but we were just not able to stop that screen pass. And Oklahoma on a 2nd and 2 goes to a little read option here, and it catches my user off guard, but luckily my defense is there to cover up for me. I send a heavy blitz on 3rd and 2, and we get tons of pressure to stall out this drive and make them settle for 3. And unfortunately, Ty Simpson did absolutely nothing on offense, so we're back on D, and I get a very nice little user pick with Deontay Lawson. This dude is a monster for this defense. I love this middle linebacker. This pass from Ty Simpson is one of the best of the entire season. Threads the needle as he's being screamed at. What a touchdown. We are currently losing 7-10, trying to get some more points before half, and we do pick up a 1st down to keep this drive going. A couple plays later, we see that Kobe Prentice is running free up the seam, and with that breakaway speed, he does get us into the end zone before halftime. And in the second half of this game, it was all Alabama. We're up 21-10 with 4:28 left. They do pick up a 4th and 4. Now they're on a 4th and 7, and this play was pretty crazy. I don't know why he waited so long to get loose, but Jackson Arnold makes a huge pickup on this 4th and 7. And Oklahoma faced 3 fourth downs this drive, and they converted all 3, this time ending in a touchdown. We're up 21-18, and again, they leave the seam wide open, this time to Hale. That seam has been free all game long. We have chew clock on, trying to just run the timeout in the rest of this game, but Jay Miller has a different idea, hits the hole, and takes this into the end zone one last time to really put the nail in the coffin. 28-18, and we get the SEC championship win. And with the revenge win over Oklahoma, we get our very first conference title of this series. This challenge is extremely difficult, but we have made pretty good progress in our first 2 seasons. Unfortunately, in year 2, we do come up short on the Heisman Trophy. Ty Simpson had a great year. For his first year starting at Alabama, he had an amazing season, but he does come up just a little bit short for that Heisman Trophy. We are actually 1 playoff win away and 1 national championship away from having the CEO and the program builder skill trees, so I'm actually going to try to save some points. So I've got 29 right now to save up for it. But I did go ahead and upgrade the Tier 3 and Tier 4 of the defensive abilities. Increased ability to disengage on run plays and decrease the time between block shed attempts, so that'll make our defense much stronger. We actually are playing Oklahoma for the 3rd time this season, this time in the All-State Sugar Bowl. This is a huge game, but we actually are going to be simulating this because I don't want to play every playoff game. I don't want to have the absolute say and control over every single win and loss throughout this series. So with that being said, we're going to simulate this game. So this is a huge game. This is either the end of our season or the next step to the national championship. Let's take a look. We did end up taking down Oklahoma. We won 27-24. Let's take a look at the box score of this game. Ty Simpson with 262 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception. Not a terrible game from him. And Justice Haynes actually had the majority of the carries versus Oklahoma with 13 carries, 74 yards. Jam Miller only had 6 carries with 20 yards. He's honestly had a slightly disappointing season, and of course he had the injury, so we can't hold that against him for those games that he missed. But he's just overall been a little bit of a disappointment for this offense. But for the second half of the season, it's been all Ty Simpson really carrying this squad. Kendrick Law, Prentice, Bernard, Lockwood, and Hale all over 30 yards on the game. Pretty solid receiving stat line. Keon Sabb did have a 32-yard interception. Very nice to see that. And then our sack leader for the game was Deontay Lawson with 2 sacks, and Damani Jackson also had a sack with that 99 speed. He came flying off the edge, I'm sure. Awesome to see that. We did unlock the program builder with that playoff win, but we're going to save our points just in case we do get to this national championship so we can unlock the CEO tier, because I'm sure by then we will have enough skill points to unlock it. Number 3 Alabama playing number 2 USC in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Let's get into the game. With 4:49 left in the second quarter, this is the first touchdown of the game in this playoff matchup. And after USC does absolutely nothing on their drive, we have an underneath drag to Kobe Prentice, and it does punch us into the end zone, making this a 14-0 ball game. This USC offense is in a box, so we are back on offense, and this nice little flood concept gets Kobe Prentice open in the middle for a huge pickup. We're up 21-3 with 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Hand the ball off to Jam Miller, and with that breakaway speed, he has a huge hole and gets taken down somehow, apparently at the 1 and not in the end zone. But very next play, hand the ball back off to him again, and he does punch it in to finish off that drive. And USC has already lost this game at this point, but to make things worse, on a 4th down, they throw an interception to Rasal. Very next drive on a 4th and 10, this time they throw an interception to Jahlil Hurley. What a ending to this game. 2 back-to-back interceptions. This was a monster win for Alabama over USC. 31-3 is the final score of the game, and we are moving on to the next round of the playoffs. National championship between Alabama, number 3, versus Clemson, the number 1 ranked team, with the Heisman winning quarterback. We are about to see a game for the ages. Let's get into it. National championship game is here. 3rd and 5 to start the game off. Nice pickup by Hale. Unfortunately, though, we do stall out, and we have to settle for 3 on this first drive of the game. And this was a scary sighting. I actually noticed on that first drive that Caleb Downs transferred to Clemson. And as we often do, we send a heavy blitz on 3rd down and get a massive sack to get the football back. And as Ty Simpson is getting absolutely smoked, he throws a laser to Bernard. What a huge play. Time is dwindling before halftime, but with this little underneath pass to Kobe Prentice, we actually get into field goal range, and we're able to put on 3 more points before halftime. Clemson sees the writing on the walls. We're up 23-7. They go for it on 4th and 1, and we are there to shut down that run. And Ty Simpson sees Haynes wide open in the flat, hits him there, and he does get the first down against Caleb Downs. And on this play, Ty Simpson stays patient and waits for that route to develop from Bernard. Touchdown, Alabama. And on a 4th and inches with any chance to get back into this football game, Alabama shoots the gap and blows up this run. What a stop. And Alabama's back in the red zone. Ty Simpson does miss his read to the middle receiver, but just takes it into the end zone himself. And in year 2 of this series, Carl Saban and this Alabama team go back-to-back as national championship winners. What a year for Alabama. Ty Simpson had a phenomenal year. Defense played great. Offense played great. Tons of playmakers across the field on both sides of the ball. And with that win, Carl Saban is one step closer to catching up to his father, Nick Saban. 2 national championships in 2 years. What a great start to this challenge. What a great start to this series. Before we get into the offseason, let's take a look at the season stats. After a very rough start, Ty Simpson had an amazing season with almost 5,000 passing yards, 47 touchdowns with only 10 interceptions. What an amazing season in his first year for Ty Simpson. As far as rushing goes, Justice Haynes actually led our squad with 158 carries, 716 yards with 8 touchdowns. Jam Miller with 13 touchdowns, 587 yards, and 126 carries. And Ty Simpson with a lot less yards, but ton of carries. 120 carries, only 250 yards with 6 touchdowns. And leading the interceptions is King Mack with 4, Deontay Lawson with 2, Devontae Smith with 2, Damani Jackson with 2, and Jahil Hurley also with 2. And our sack leaders are LT Overton with 12.5, Jihad Campbell with 12, Keanu Cott with 10, and Deontay Lawson with 7. And with an astounding 108 tackles, Deontay Lawson is our tackle leader, with Devontae Smith not too far behind him. And with that national championship, when we actually get the CEO ability, which I don't think I have enough skill points to get everything I want yet, but as we move throughout the seasons, I'm definitely going to get the ability where we have a higher chance of getting insta-commits from the players that have our team as their first interest. After an amazing season from Ty Simpson, he is projected to go in the 7th round of the draft, but we have a very high chance to persuade him to stay, so we are going to try that because I would love to have him for another season. And he does decide to stay, so we're going to have Ty Simpson for another season. Going into year 3, we are losing a ton of players. Tons of starters, tons of high overalls. We're losing Jeremy Bernard, Tyler Booker, Jihad Campbell, Fox. We're losing Damani Jackson. We're losing Keanu Cott, Kendrick Law, Deontay Lawson, Jam Miller. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kobe Prentice, Keon Sabb, Devontae Smith, and we're losing a ton of our skill positions. So I really hope that we did a good job in recruiting. I hope that our players develop in the offseason well, because this next season could be a huge step back if we did not do well in our recruiting or in our offseason stages. With the loss of LT Overton, Deontay Lawson, and many other defensive players, we're going to be targeting middle linebackers and defensive linemen in this transfer portal. No guarantees we'll get anyone, but that is the main focus for us. We did get Cam Robinson, the 4-star middle linebacker. That'll be a nice addition with the loss of Deontay Lawson. We also get the 4-star cornerback from the transfer portal that I'm not going to say his name. You can read it yourself because I am not making a fool of myself with that name. But we also get him in the transfer portal. Time for my favorite part of the offseason, the training results. Justice Haynes went up from a 90 to a 92. Proctor, I believe, was around an 88, 89, went up to 92. Our line is looking like it's going to be hopefully a decent amount better this season. It felt pretty bad the first half of the season and started to play better the second half of the season. But man, we just took a lot of sacks, got hit a lot. I feel like there was a ton of pressure on Ty Simpson, and he played great through it. But good Lord, your quarterback should not be hit as much as he was. Rasal, very big name player on the defense. Look out for him this season. He had a great season last year. And with the loss of Deontay Lawson, he's going to be a big name to step up to the plate for us. Even though Ty Simpson has the impact development trait, he actually did not go up anymore. He's still an 87, which is kind of surprising to me. The depth on this team seemed to get a lot better, though. We have a lot more 87s, 86s, just kind of across the board. Look at all these 85s, 84s. This Alabama team is loaded with talent. I mean, look at this. We're just scrolling forever and ever before we get to the 80s. This team, regardless of losing a handful of top players, we should be A-okay. This team has depth at so many positions. Our line should be better. Ty Simpson is back for another season. Justice Haynes did progress with the loss of Jam Miller. The defense with players like Rasal and players like Bobby Walker-Smith. These players have some big shoes to fill, but I do think that our defense will still be very, very great this season. In Season 3, we're going to do a lot more simulation. I'm still going to show you updates on recruiting. We're still going to play games. We're still going to show you the season stats. But we're going to try to get through the season a little bit quicker. If you don't like this style and you prefer like Season 1 or Season 2, just let me know. And this type of season will not be back for any of the future episodes. So y'all's feedback is very crucial and very valuable to me. So just let me know. But with that being said, I'm going to set up my recruiting board and we're going to start getting into the season. So even though insta commits are in the game, the chances of them are very low. You can only get insta commits from players that have you as their #1 interest. I was really hoping to get this dream school ability, but I don't have the skill points for it yet. This increases the chances of those insta commits by a decent margin. I'm talking like probably 10 to 20% as opposed to maybe just like 5%. It's very nice, but just know I do not have it yet, but it is on the agenda list and it is something I want for this team very badly. And the reason I bring that up is because look at this list. Every single player on this list is a 5-star or a 4-star player, and they have Alabama as their #1 option. So if I had that CO ability, we would be able to get instant commits from probably at least 10 of these players. I may still get a few, but it is nowhere near the amount that I would have if I had that ability. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of my recruiting board. Maurice Chesina is our top target for the quarterback spot. Ty Simpson is going to be our starting quarterback, but whenever he is gone, I still want to have a quarterback that can run the option, has some speed, so he's going to be our top priority target for the recruiting board. 91 throw power, 94 speed, gold option king. For the running back spot, you don't see platinum abilities very often, but Quincy Nagata has the platinum sidestep ability. He only has 88 speed, but that is a huge ability to have on the running back. At the wide receiver spot, the main thing that is always important to me is speed, and Pat Kenoy with 99 speed, bronze takeoff, 95 acceleration, absolute monster. And with Roderick Trask, it's no different. 4-star gym wide receiver, 95 speed. And last but not least, Martin Casey, 99 speed. We are targeting some burners for this Alabama offense. Our main target at the end spot is Braden Carter. He's a 4-star gym player. And we have 5-star defensive tackles that we're going after. There's no point in trying to mention each one of them separately because they are all someone that I'm interested in. Defensive tackle is very important to my defense. So our main target at the cornerback spot is this redneck-looking white 99 speed corner, Roger Schiller. Everything about this man confuses me, but he is a burner. So with 99 speed, he is our main cornerback target. We'll probably add more corners throughout the season, but he's our main target for now. I've got 3 great free safeties on the board that I'm targeting. Billy Hill is the main one with 95 speed. Ladarius Cook has 91, and Hugh Tam has 90. 3 great options here, and there is nothing dull about George Dull. 95 speed, has pretty decent mental abilities. This will be our main target at the strong safety spot. We actually did end up getting a gym 4-star middle linebacker with 89 speed, so that'll be very nice for next season, just in case we do not have a good user. Our first matchup of the year is against USF. The new middle linebacker Cam Robinson actually gets the SEC Defensive Player of the Week in his first game against USF. Very cool to see that. We did beat USF, but not by a ton. We only won by 7 points. Let's take a look at the stats of that game. TJ Simpson had 262 yards. He had 2 picks and 1 touchdown. Not an amazing game, but could have been a lot worse. As far as the rushing goes, Justice Haynes is leading our squad. 131 yards on the day. Pretty dang good game from him, honestly. For 2 years in a row, LT Overton was the sack leader. We're going to have to wait and see as the season progresses who's going to be that new star of the defense for the pressure. Isaiah gets 1, and then half of a sack for Edric Hill and Bray Hubbard. And in our second game of the season, we actually take our first loss already. We drop immediately to number 13. Arizona had not played a game yet. They were ranked number 19, and we actually lost by 4. Looking at the stats, it looks like Ty Simpson may have actually gotten injured for part of this game because he did not play the full match, but he did not have a great game up to that point anyways. Dylan Longarian actually honestly had a better game in the 6 passes that he had than Ty Simpson's 22 attempts. So kind of rough to see in a game against Arizona, but we will keep pushing and just grow from this game. Our next matchup is against West Virginia. Hopefully we should get a nice little bounce back game after that tough loss to Arizona. It's funny because earlier in this video I mentioned the visits still being glitched and broken and not working in Dynasty mode, and literally the day after I said that, a big update came out and visits have now been fixed, so I can actually schedule visits for all the players that I care about. I'm not going to go through and name every single one that I did, but any top player that I'm really going after heavy, we have already scheduled them for a visit. With a couple more that I'm waiting on, we just got to wait till we know more about the player to send them on a visit for the right things. We get our first commitment of the season, George Dull, the 4-star strong safety. So far, I think we might be on par to have our best recruiting season. I'm not sure what the stats will say towards the end, but at least right now, I feel like a lot of the top players that I care about going after, we are very close to getting, especially players like Maurice Chesina. I mean, we are very close to getting that commitment from him, and he is going to be the star of this team maybe in a year, maybe 2 years, not sure. But 91 throw power, 94 speed. I know I've already talked about him, but 4-star gym quarterback. He is going to be a monster for us, and I cannot wait to get him. The race for Roger Schiller, the top corner that I want, is a little bit tighter. LSU is right behind us. They don't have a visit scheduled, but they do have a pipeline that is a higher tier than ours. So that makes me a little bit nervous, but I really, really want him. 99 speed. Gotta have him on the squad. It does look like we're about to get Billy Hill, but A&M is right behind us. And if you remember from last season, Miami swooped in and stole 2 players from us at the last second. So I hope that doesn't happen again this season, because I would love to have Billy Hill on the squad with that 95 speed. And I just wanted to show y'all this because Miami has something against Alabama. They come in and steal players from us all the time. Another player gone to Miami. Daquan Nealon and Josh Parr are also both very close to committing. We don't really have any competition for Josh Parr at the moment. But Daquan Nealon is also interested in Arkansas, which does have him scheduled on a visit. Hopefully we can get him to commit before that visit, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. If he goes on that visit to Arkansas, he may end up committing there. If we lose this game against 0-4 Kentucky, every player on the squad is running suicides all night long. Very excited to see this. The 5-star running back with the platinum sidestep ability does commit to Alabama. We also get the luscious Greek god Billy Hill, the 95 speed free safety. We also get a new 4-star right tackle, Matt Isaacs. Luckily, everyone on the squad is safe from the suicides because we did get the win over Kentucky. This one stings a little bit. We lose Martin Casey to Georgia, but I guess it's only fitting that a player that likes to run fast is also going to go to the school that is the most well known for getting speeding tickets and getting arrested for it. So, goodbye, Martin Casey. And with a little scouting, we actually find a brand new middle linebacker with 94 speed, a 4-star gym. This is where we're going to be spending a lot of our hours in the recruiting. The future of Alabama has arrived. We are setting the expectations very high for next season from Maurice Chesina. No matter what Ty Simpson does this season, Maurice Chesina will be the starting quarterback next season. And we give the future of Alabama a nice target in Pat Kenoy, 4-star wide receiver. And one of the most exciting players on our recruitment board, Roger Schiller, the 5-star corner with 99 speed, has also committed to Alabama in the same week. This has been a huge week for recruiting. And it doesn't end there. 5-star free safety Hugh Tam also commits to Alabama. And every time I think it's over, another player pops up. 5-star defensive tackle Shane Rhodes, another freak of nature. He is also a gym player, so he is going to be a monster for this squad. And I guess I'm just going to keep pressing A forever because we also get Daquan Nealon, the 4-star left end. After that loss to Arizona, we have popped off a 4-game win streak against West Virginia, Florida State, Kentucky, and Florida. Next up is Arkansas. After we simulate the Arkansas game, we're going to be hopping in and playing this game against Texas. And we get another commitment from a very speedy wide receiver, Roderick Trask. We did get the win over Arkansas 30-16. Let's take a look at the stats of that game. Ty Simpson with 247 yards, 1 touchdown. Not a terrible game. 77% completion rating is pretty good. As far as the defense, Jahil Hurley did have 1 interception for 20 yards. Not too bad there. And our only sack on the day, or true one-on-one sack, was Keon Keeley with 1. But Howard and Rasal did share the other sack that we had on the day. And on the very first play of the game against Texas, we make one man miss, make another man miss, and then we are finally taken down right about the 35-yard line. What a play. And even with the heavy pressure and not knowing the icon, we throw a nice pass to Hale for the first down. 2nd and inches, we just hand the ball off to Young, and he punches it in the end zone. And on this 2nd and goal, unfortunately, I do not hit the right gap with my user, and they punch it into the end zone to make this a tie football game. Our tight end, Ty Lockwood, has developed into quite the receiving threat. First play, get a nice little out route. Very next play, he's on a corner, and we hit him with the nice little double team coverage, and he still makes the catch. 2nd and goal, we just hand the ball off to Young, but even with this touchdown, we're still losing 24-14, so we have a long way to go to get back into this football game. 4th and 2, hit Haynes in the flat. We do pick up the first down to keep this drive going. And on a 2nd and 9, trying to punch it in the end zone, and that's exactly what we do with the seam pass to Hamilton. And we have clawed our way back into this game, 31-28, but this play right here was a backbreaker. We just did not have the speed, couldn't catch them, and they punched it in for another touchdown. And we actually did march down the field and score very quickly, so we have to go for the onside kick. And the first Texas player misses it, and we hop on that football to recover it. And on the 3rd and 1, we go to the option play, and we get crushed, but we barely get the football up to Haynes just in time and has a very nice pickup of about 20 to 25 yards. And with 1 minute left in the 4th quarter on a 3rd and 10, we make a horrendous mistake and turn the ball over. So now the onside kick and the amazing comeback is all for nothing. What a heartbreaking way to lose the game. Even after that very tough loss to Texas, we get another commitment from Josh Parr, the 4-star right end. Okay, so I know that we haven't been great with recruiting 4-stars, But Miami is the thorn in my side for this entire dynasty. They're stealing players from me. They're beating us out in the recruiting class. I hate this team. I want you to hear me say that. I hate this team. All right, and then I click over to my recruiting board, and what do I see? Just another slap in the face from Miami. I've advanced a couple more weeks after the loss to Texas. I'm going to show you those games in just a second. But we do have the #1 recruiting class now. I'm going to try to hold on to that because I want to beat out Miami very, very badly. And with that, we've added a few new recruits to the board. We had the 3-star gem right outside linebacker Eric Herring with 83 speed. The most notable player that we did add to the recruiting board, though, in the last few weeks is Richard Bickley, 97 speed, 3-star corner. He is going to be a stud if we can get him. I love the speedy corners, as I've mentioned many, many times. And the last player I'm going to point out is George Manuel, the 95 speed, 3-star gem wide receiver. He is also a big target for us. I'm going to start doing a better job of keeping y'all in the know on the injury reports. It's not something I always think to check, but we do have 2 players out for 3 weeks. We have Edric Hill, an 86 DT, and then we've got our 86 cornerback David Ngwagu, who is also out. And after that loss to Texas, we actually lost to an unranked Texas A&M squad as well. Our defense gave up 40 points. Really tough to see that. But we did luckily get the bounce back game against Ole Miss, 35-7. Ty Simpson had a great game, almost 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Great game from Ty Simpson. Looks like it was all Ty Simpson this game because we did not run the ball hardly at all. Jalen Mbawake did have 1 interception against Ole Miss. We also had 3 sacks, 2 from Keon Keeley and 1 from Rasal. Regardless of having pretty good seasons, we're just not able to get any players on this Heisman list. We're in week 12, so the season is winding down, so I don't think we're going to have a Heisman again in year 3. So that part of the challenge is not going well for us at all. Hopping into the second quarter against Mississippi State, we are currently up 14-7 with 30 seconds before halftime. A huge play to Hale on the sideline against man coverage. What a great play. 3rd and goal. We see Lockwood hit him in the end zone. Easy touchdown. Mississippi State is losing 21-10 in the fourth quarter. They're going for it on a 4th and 4. The pressure gets there, and they turn the football over. And to solidify this win against Mississippi State, we do a jet sweep to Hamilton. And with that speed and great blocking from Haynes, we punched in the end zone one last time. The final score of the game is 35-17, and we get the win over Mississippi State. With that win over Mississippi State, we actually had just enough skill points to get the CEO Dream School ability. This is going to be so huge for next season. We just simulated the game against Auburn, so we'll take a look at that box score in just a second. But we got another commit, Mitch Maggio, the 4-star wide receiver. And in that game against Auburn, Ray Cummings was actually the SEC Defensive Player of the Week with 2 sacks and 4 tackles. And in year 3, we have a chance for another conference title, this time against #1 Georgia. We're going to take a look at their roster because I actually haven't seen what their roster looks like this year, but this is going to be a tough matchup. Miami and Georgia have had so many 4-star recruitments this season, so obviously I'm not doing something perfectly right, but we are still #1 because of the amount of 5-stars we had this season. But regardless, I want this top spot super bad. And right after that, we do get the stud 3-star gym cornerback Richard Bickley. Super excited to see him on the squad. Our last game of the season was against Auburn, and we did get the W against them. It was 38-30. Let's take a look at these stats and see how Ty Simpson played. An amazing game as far as the yards go. Not a ton of touchdowns, but almost 360 yards on the day for Ty Simpson. What a freaking monster. He is actually boosted up to a 90 overall right now. He's had a great season. And in that game against Auburn, Ray Cummings was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week with 2 sacks and 5 tackles. And I almost forgot to show the receiving stats for this game. Ryan Williams with 125 yards on the day. Jaron Hamilton with 88 yards. And Ty Lockwood was our only receiving touchdown of the day with 64 yards. Our next conference title is on the other side of a juggernaut. This team is disgusting. 92 defense, 90 offense, 92 middle linebacker, 91 middle linebacker. Obviously, their overalls are being boosted from the great play this season, but 94 speed at the middle linebacker spot. We have a 95 speed corner, a 93 speed corner. This Georgia offense is insane. 92 speed, 99 speed, 92 speed, 99, 99, and everyone else is above a 90 speed. We are going to have a tough time with this offense. And just to make things worse for us, they also have an 89 and a 90 overall running back, so we're going to have a tough time stopping just about everything they want to do on offense. And quickly into this SEC championship game, Ty Simpson actually suffers an injury, and so Longarian actually has to come in. That's why we're doing a lot of jet sweeps, bubble passes, trying to take some of the pressure off of Longarian because this Georgia defense is stout. Huge play from Hamilton to get us on the board 7-0. And this Georgia offense starts snowballing very quickly in this game. They scored their first drive. We do a quick 3 and out. They come back and score again. Now it's 14-7. And another huge play to the flat here. No defense over there. Gets taken down about the 2-yard line, but they do punch it in right after that play. And now we're looking at a 21-7 football game. Huge pass to Lockwood of about 15 yards. Very nice play from the Longarian there. Very next play, we hit Lockwood again on the out route. He has been such a surefire target for this offense. Very next play, this should have been a touchdown, but I keep making the mistake of possession catching everything. It's such a bad habit, but luckily it doesn't hurt us. We punch it in. Very next play with Justice Haynes. Georgia's now up 24-14. This is a very important stop if we can get it. I missed the tackle. Luckily, we get him out right about the 1-yard line, which is very important because we end up holding strong on the goal line and forcing them to just 3 points. We are unfortunately losing 27-14. This team just cannot move the ball very well without Ty Simpson. Huge interception from Howard, though. This is basically our one last shot to get anything on the board to win this football game. And a great return gets us down to about the 45-yard line. 1:34 left in the fourth quarter. Hand the ball off to Haynes, and he does get the edge and powered into the end zone. And on 3rd and 10, I'm expecting a pass, and they hand the ball off again, and he gets a huge run on the outside, breaks a tackle, and gets taken down right about the 1-yard line. And with that, this ball game is over. Ty Simpson goes out in the first quarter, and Longarian just cannot get it done. What a very tough loss in the SEC championship. Now that the regular season is technically over, before we hop into the playoffs, let's take a look at the season stats. Ty Simpson had a pretty solid year, 3,100 rushing yards, 3,100 passing yards on 234 completions, 27 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Last year was honestly a better run for him, so I'm not sure he will be back as the starting quarterback. We've got a lot of things to fix with this team. He was not necessarily the problem. We just need a little bit better quarterback play from this squad. Justice Haynes with a pretty good year, 914 yards, 8 touchdowns. Ty Simpson also got loose on the ground a handful of times, 86 carries, 7 touchdowns. Richard Young with 9 touchdowns and 206 rushing yards. We were very close to having a receiver with over 1,000 yards. Jaron Hamilton had a pretty good year, 989 yards with 14 touchdowns. Ryan Williams with 7 touchdowns and 834 yards. Jalen Hale with 646 with 3 touchdowns. And Ty Lockwood with 4 touchdowns and 524 yards. This defense definitely took a step back from last season. We just didn't quite have as many playmakers as we've had in the years past. But we did have a handful of interceptions. Cameron Howard with 3, Cam Robinson with 2, Jahiel Hurley with 2, David Ngwagu with 2, and also Alex Trinidad with 2. And unfortunately, our sack leader is actually injured right now. Hunter Osborne with 9 sacks, and the next closest is Keon Keeley. And filling in the shoes of Deontay Lawson, 84 tackles from Cam Robinson. Very solid year from him. If Ty Simpson had a slightly better year, he honestly wasn't that far off the Heisman race. 3,400 yards, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The main thing was he was just missing the touchdowns. He was not very far behind on the passing yards. But the Baylor quarterback, DJ Lagway, was the Heisman winner in year 2026. And in the first round of the playoffs, number 8 Alabama is playing against number 6 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State honestly doesn't have an amazing roster. The top player on this squad is, I guess, Weston Davis and Rodney Fields Jr. So their highest overall players are 85 overall. So in theory, this should be a pretty easy matchup. We did get the win over Oklahoma State, and I will show you the box score in just a moment, but the Juggernaut is back, and they are once again in our path to have any kind of progress in this dynasty. They are the second round playoff matchup for us. I can't lie, I am very nervous to play against them again. So I said that Oklahoma State's roster was bad, and yeah, that showed in this game. 65-17 in the first round of the playoffs is an insane stat line. 286 yards from Ty Simpson with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. The leading wideout for the day was Jaron Hamilton with Ryan Williams right behind him. And what a great game from Cameron Howard. 2 interceptions on the day. That's crazy. And we also had 3 sacks in this game, 2 from Keon Keeley and 1 from Cam Robinson. And unfortunately, our sack leader, Hunter Osborne, is out for probably one of the biggest games of the season. Very unfortunate to not have him in this game. The rematch against Georgia starts now. It is win or go home for this Alabama squad. On our first drive of the game, we're on a 3rd and 13. We have a nice little pickup to Haynes, who barely squeezes it past that first down marker. Ever since the patch update, sometimes the scoreboard and down and distance just disappears until the end of the play. It's super annoying, but as you can see, we had a huge way to go, and we still pick it up. 1st and 10, handing the ball off to Young. We get some very nice blocking. We make one man miss with the spin, and we get taken down about the 7-yard line. And my mistake here almost cost us a touchdown. I did a possession catch again instead of racking it, but luckily quarterback sneak from Ty Simpson gets us in the end zone. Losing 14-10 before halftime, we make a horrible mistake and give up the curl route, giving them another touchdown before the half. Unfortunately, Georgia also got the ball after halftime. We send some pressure on 3rd and 4, and luckily we do get the overthrow, getting the football back. 3rd and 5 in Georgia territory. We desperately need points here here to stay in this football game. Justice Haynes breaks a tackle and gets us down to the 5-yard line. We go to the jet sweep, hand it off to Williams, who does punch it into the end zone, but we did end up missing the extra point, so it's a 21-16 ball game. Georgia on a 3rd and long, nothing is open besides those 2 little curl routes. We scream down and make this a 4th down for Georgia. They did get 3 points, so now this is a 8-point ball game. We get shut down on the 3rd and 8. Now 4th and 8 for the football game. Nothing's open. Ty Simpson gets loose with his legs, breaks a tackle, and keeps this drive going. What a play. Now on a 3rd and 10, we try to float this over the linebacker to Lockwood, and he drops the football. And on a 4th and 10, I make a horrible mistake. Throw this pass way too late. That Georgia linebacker jumps the route, and that's a big turnover at this point in the game. 3rd and 9 for this Georgia offense. We do get the stop, forcing them to kick a very long field goal, which they do luckily end up missing to give us one last chance to go down and tie this football game. 1st and 10, we start off this drive with a little pass to the flat to Young, who does end up getting the 1st down for us. And on one of the biggest plays of the game, every single route on the field was bagged. I tried to force it into Lockwood, should have just threw the football away, and unfortunately this goes all the way back for a pick 6. What a devastating mistake to make at this point in the game. And with that, this game is basically over. We do have one little consolation touchdown, not that it matters, because our season is over. Terrible way to go out. Georgia knocks us off 2 games in a row. Just could not get past this juggernaut. And with that loss to Georgia, Alabama's season does come to an end, and unfortunately, no progress for any of the challenge goals are met in year 3. Obviously, no national championship, no conference title, and no Heisman winner. A very rough season. Recruiting was pretty strong for us, though, so hopefully in this next year, we will have a much better squad. We're definitely going to be going a different direction with the offense and the defense. We've got to try to change some things up because we're not getting enough stops in the big games, and we're not scoring nearly enough points to win football games. Ty Simpson has had a pretty good run with us, but he will not be back as the starting quarterback next year. It doesn't make me feel a whole lot better, but at least we know the team that won the national championship was the absolute juggernaut, Georgia. That is one of the best teams I've ever seen in a dynasty. That squad was loaded with talent from top to bottom on offense and defense. Hopefully their team can lose some pieces, but I know they had a very solid recruiting class, so they're probably going to be a very good team for years to come in this series. We are once again losing a handful of great players. This is just the nature of college football. We're losing Cam Robinson, our 89 overall middle linebacker. We're also losing Ty Simpson. He wasn't going to be playing it next year anyways. I actually forgot that he is a senior. But yeah, he would not have been starting regardless next season. Caden Proctor, the 92 left tackle, is also gone. The 88 left tackle, Elijah Pritchett, also gone. We're also losing Justice Haynes, our starting running back, at 92 overall. And we do have a chance of getting Dylan Longarian to stay. I'm probably not going to try, though. We have actually got a handful of good quarterbacks coming in next year. And we are going to try to get Ty Lockwood to stay. I actually was a pretty big fan of him throughout the second half of the season, but we do have a very low chance of getting him to stay. And we did fail, so Ty Lockwood will also be leaving the squad. I don't have a ton of space to go for players in the transfer portal, but I'm targeting a few key players. The main person being Jacoby Barney with 93 speed and 99 catching, a very surefire target. He's one of the main options we're going after, with a handful of others like Stephaline Green. We've also got Caleb Harris. We got Ricky Collins, Ashton Murphy, and another big one is Jaden Lewis, 92 speed with a couple of bronze abilities and gold house call. I really like that ability on my DBs. And in the transfer portal, we do get Jaden Lewis, the 4-star corner. After we got Jaden Lewis, basically everyone else committed somewhere else. Ashton Murphy to Oklahoma, Ricky Collins to Arkansas. I actually don't know what team GT is, but Stephaline Green went there. Caleb Harris went to LSU, and Jacory Barney went to Florida State. And we actually did end the season with the #1 recruiting class. We had 6 5-stars, 15 4-stars, and 7 3-stars. We could have done a lot better with the 4-star commits. I'm going to have to get better at that, but we did get 6 5-star commitments, so hopefully we got some big name players that are going to come in and make a difference next season. I'm going to save the full roster reveal for year 4 for the next video, but for now I'm going to show you the training results. 93 right guard, 93 left guard, 89 right tackle. We should have a much better offensive line, at least in theory, going into next season. We've also got a ton of speed on this team. 99 speed Ryan Williams, Jaron Hamilton with 99, Enrique Paulo, Jalen Blake, both with 99, 97, 97, 96, 95. I mean, you name it, we've got speed all over the field. We're going to try to change up the way we run offense next season. Obviously, we're going to have a much faster quarterback, so we're going to get back to the option game quite a bit. But I'm also going to try to do a lot more plays to get these speedy wide receivers underneath and hopefully make a man miss and use that speed to take off down the field. We did not do enough underneath routes for our speedy wide receivers. We didn't do enough jet passes. we just really didn't play a solid scheme of offense this season. Nothing was really working. We were trying to look downfield too much, and that's just not how our team is built. So this next season coming up, we're going to be shifting the offense in a major way. If you're still here, that means you're an absolute trooper. Thank you so much for the support on these videos and on this series. I'm super excited to keep making them. It's been a ton of fun. Y'all's support has really motivated me to keep this series going and get this content out as fast as possible. I will continue to monitor your comments and feedback to make this series as best as possible. So continue to leave comments and let me know what you want to see differently out of this series. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. It's Real Jev, and I'm out.